The seed must crack open before the tree can rise, but in the cracking comes pain. Most people never survive their spiritual awakening, not because they are weak, not because they are unworthy, but because they resist the breaking. You see, the path of awakening is not a gentle walk through light and peace. It is a descent into the deepest caves of your own mind, a fire that burns away everything false. And in that fire, the illusions scream, the ego resists, the identity collapses. When someone begins to awaken spiritually, they come face to face with the uncomfortable truth that much of what they believed about themselves and the world was illusion. This realization is not easy to accept. The ego, which has built an entire identity around past experiences, roles, labels, and societal conditioning, feels threatened. It does everything it can to maintain control and preserve the version of reality it has always known. Awakening begins to tear down these mental structures, and in response, the ego resists hard. This resistance is not just mental, it's emotional and even physical. The body reacts with anxiety, fear, or exhaustion. The mind floods with doubt and confusion. People don't resist awakening because they don't want to grow. They resist because growth requires loss. It requires letting go of who they thought they were. Many cling to familiar pain rather than step into the unknown. They hold on to limiting beliefs, toxic habits, and false identities because even if those things cause suffering, they are familiar. The unfamiliar feels unsafe, and the ego equates unfamiliarity with danger, so it fights to survive, creating inner conflict and turmoil. This resistance creates suffering, not the kind of suffering that leads to transformation, but the kind that causes stagnation. People begin to question whether awakening is worth the discomfort. They distract themselves, suppress their insights, and return to old patterns. This is how the cycle continues, without recognizing this resistance for what it is, a defense mechanism of the ego. They cannot move forward. The awakening process demands that you stop lying to yourself, that you look in the mirror and see clearly. Most people are not ready for that level of honesty. They resist not the truth itself, but the cost of knowing it, and so they remain stuck between who they were and who they're meant to become. Spiritual awakening is often portrayed as a path of peace and joy, but in reality, it usually begins with darkness. This darkness is not evil or negative. It is the raw, unfiltered truth of everything you've avoided. Before the light of understanding can enter, you must first face the parts of yourself you've denied, rejected, or buried. The beginning of awakening feels like being lost in a forest with no map. The path is not clear, and the direction is unknown. You are stripped of certainty and comfort. The things that once gave you meaning no longer feel fulfilling. You may begin to question your purpose, your relationships, your work, everything. This period is often referred to as the dark night of the soul. It is a spiritual crisis that brings all inner wounds to the surface. It feels like falling apart, but something deeper is actually trying to come together. This darkness is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sacred passage, a cleansing phase, but most people misunderstand it. They try to escape it, fix it, or numb it, thinking they are broken. In truth, they are being prepared for something greater. Sitting in this darkness requires patience and courage. It's in this space where you begin to truly see yourself without the masks. It's where the transformation begins, not with more knowledge or external achievements, but with deep inner honesty. The light only arrives when you stop running from the dark, and that light is not always blinding or glorious. Sometimes it's a quiet realization, a gentle shift. The awakening that follows is not found by avoiding pain, but by moving through it. The darkness is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of something real, and only those who are willing to face it discover the light waiting within. The journey of spiritual awakening cannot be walked with force or ego-driven ambition. It requires a quiet kind of strength, one that comes through discipline, silence, and surrender. Discipline trains the body and the mind to withstand discomfort. Without it, the chaos of awakening can become overwhelming. When emotions surge, when thoughts spiral, discipline holds you steady. It's not about controlling the process, but about staying rooted while everything inside you changes. It teaches you to stay with the breath, to remain present even when it hurts. A disciplined practice, whether it's meditation, mindful movement, or reflection, creates the structure necessary for transformation to unfold. Silence is where the real teachings are revealed, not in books, not in lectures, but in the stillness within. In silence, you begin to hear what the noise of daily life has hidden. You meet your true self, not through thought, but through awareness. Silence isn't just about the absence of sound, it's about quieting the mind enough to witness what lies beneath it. In silence, illusions are exposed, your inner world becomes clear, and that clarity is often uncomfortable, but it's also the key to awakening. Surrender is perhaps the most difficult part. It's not giving up, it's letting go of control, of expectations, of the need to understand everything. Awakening doesn't happen on your timeline, it unfolds naturally, and the more you try to force it, the more resistance you create. Surrender means trusting the process even when it doesn't make sense. It means accepting discomfort without needing to escape it. Together, discipline, silence, and surrender form the foundation of awakening. Without them, the journey becomes too chaotic to endure. With them, even the most painful moments become gateways to deeper insight. They are not shortcuts, they are the path itself. Many people begin the spiritual path with good intentions, but they often fall into the trap of seeking shortcuts. They want to awaken, but without discomfort. They want transformation, but without sacrifice. This desire for an easy way out is one of the greatest obstacles to true spiritual growth. It comes from the mind's tendency to seek pleasure and avoid pain. The ego wants the rewards of awakening, peace, purpose, freedom, but it does not want to let go of control, identity, and attachment. As a result, people chase methods that promise quick results, instant enlightenment, or effortless healing. They read books, attend workshops, or repeat affirmations, hoping these external tools will change their inner world. But the truth is, no tool, no technique, no teacher can do the work for you. Awakening is not something you consume, it's something you embody. It is a slow and often painful process of confronting who you really are, beyond roles, beyond beliefs, beyond the surface. That kind of transformation does not happen overnight. It happens in silence, in solitude, in the quiet battles no one else sees. The shortcuts may offer temporary relief, but they do not remove the inner resistance that blocks awakening. The spiritual path requires patience, self-honesty, and consistent inner work. There are no hacks or bypasses for facing your own shadow. The deeper truths only reveal themselves when you've proven through your actions and your presence that you are ready to receive them. Most people abandon the path not because it is too hard, but because they expected it to be easy. In chasing the destination, they miss the value of the journey. Real awakening asks you to walk through fire, not jump over it, and only those willing to stay with the process truly transform. Spiritual awakening demands a kind of death, not of the body, but of everything you believed yourself to be. This is not a metaphor. The ego, the identity, the roles you've attached to, all must be released. The process is not a one-time event, but a continuous cycle of shedding, letting go, and dying to the old self. Most people fear this deeply, because their sense of safety is tied to who they think they are. Letting go feels like disappearing, but in truth, it is only through this surrender that your real self can begin to emerge. Each time you let go of a belief, a story, or a pattern, you make space for something new. This is the essence of transformation. It is not about adding more to who you are. It is about stripping away what is not you, but this requires courage. Letting go feels like falling. It feels like standing on the edge of the unknown with no ground beneath your feet. It challenges every part of your mind that wants control, every instinct that clings to the familiar. Survival in this process is not about strength in the traditional sense. It's not about fighting harder or holding on tighter. It's about allowing the old to fall away even when it hurts. It's about choosing truth over comfort. You must become willing to lose everything that is false so that what is real can finally be seen. This death of the old self is sacred. It is not an end, it is a doorway. But only those who walk through it without turning back can experience what lies beyond. Most people fear the loss too much to take that step. But for those who do, A deeper, freer, and more authentic life begins on the other side,